Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Donella if you just so happen to be stopping by for the very first time. By the way, if you happen to be stopping by for the very first time, hi, hello, how are you? Welcome to my channel. Please be sure to click that subscribe button on your way out before you leave. Trust me, you would not regret it. Christmas is almost here. Yes, we are finally in the month of December. I know a lot of persons have been looking forward to December because it's not only Christmas, but you know, within the Federation we also celebrate Carnival, traditionally known as Sugar Mass. So for this video, I am going to be giving a first impression slash review of the ColourPop Pretty Fresh HA Tinted Moisturizer, the what is this called, the Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer, as well as the Precision Blending Sponge. Now these products are fairly new. I think they were launched like at least a month or two ago, so they're not really that new. It's fairly, I actually was supposed to film this like since 2 weeks ago. I got into everything, you know, and you know, things happen, so I had to kind of run out, and then I tried to film it last week again, and then something else happened. So yeah, now we're here this week and we're finally sitting down and we're going to just run through the entire thing until everything is completed. Okay, so let's start off with the Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. To what they say here on the box, it says that it's ideal for all skin types. It's infused with hyaluronic acid, aka HA, and hyaluronic acid is known to hydrate and support healthy looking skin. I'm just reading what's here on the box. Also, it's infused with coconut water, and coconut water is known to support hydration and skin softness. So if you're somebody who suffers from oily skin like I do, this tinted moisturizer is definitely something that you might want to get, you know, in your makeup drawer if you're into tinted moisturizers. Not most persons are into tinted moisturizers. Also, this is what the concealer looks like. Oh, I didn't show you guys tinted moisturizer, I'm sorry. This is what the tinted moisturizer looks like. It comes in a nice packaging that looks like this, and it's kind of like, reminds me of the Fenty hydrating foundation. The same sleek packaging right here where you can see all the product that's inside, and then you have this nice pump. You guys know I'm all for pumps. Anything that has a pump, I'm all for it. Okay, so let's move on to the concealer. The concealer is the Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer. Let me see what it says here on the box. It says the Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer is long wearing full coverage creamy concealer infused with hydrating ingredients for a natural fresh finish. I can really understand why the concealer is full coverage, because you know, for persons who have a bit of skin imperfection, you know, if you want to cover up maybe a bit of under eye darkness, if you want to cover up maybe some sort of blemish, you know, maybe you had a recent breakout like me, because you guys know after mother nature finished with me, she'll leave all kind of things on me. So yeah, she was just recently here, you know, so she left these for me to deal with. So I could definitely understand why this is a full coverage concealer, because you would need this to correct whatever skin imperfections that you have before you apply the tinted moisturizer. And then I also bought the Precision Blending Sponge that looks like, ooh, let's see, ooh, she's so tiny. This is what she looks like. But I'm assuming once I get this nice and saturated with some water, that is going to expand. So let me go and do that real quick, and then we're going to come back to testing all the products that I have here. I've gotten this question a lot over the years, and persons are constantly asking, you know, what is the difference between a foundation and a tinted moisturizer? Well, the first and most obvious difference is the color pigment inside a tinted moisturizer is going to be way less compared to a foundation. Also, tinted moisturizers tend to have way more humectants than a foundation, so they tend to hydrate your skin more than a foundation. Basically, they're both delivery vehicles for tinting the skin. It's just that, you know, if you're looking for a more full-on, full coverage, if you really want to cover up all your skin's imperfection, then you would always choose a foundation over a tinted moisturizer. Now, one of the great things about using a tinted moisturizer is that you can use it underneath your foundation. If you're one of those persons who just want to use way less foundation and you're looking for a trick as to how you can do that, once you color correct or you spot conceal and you use a tinted moisturizer over your face, you tend to use way less foundation, because what you're doing is basically covering the areas where you need extra coverage with the foundation. Pretty Fresh line from ColourPop also has a primer and a setting spray. However, I didn't get any of those because I just figure, you know, I know in some cases the primer and the setting spray works well with the complexion products, but I didn't see anything that looked exciting about the ingredients inside of the primer and the setting spray, so I just opted not to. However, in place of that, I'm going to be using two products to replace that. The first product I'm going to be using is my CoverGirl Full Spectrum Matte Ambition primer. I'm going to be using that in this area of my face just to make sure, you know, because I know I sweat a lot in this area of my face, so I'm going to just use that, nicely pat that in this area of my face. Next, I'm going to go into my Farsali Rose Gold Skin Mist, and I'm just going to basically add a bit of moisture right there, or you know, just kind of prep the skin for the tinted moisturizer. And I'm just going to allow it to just dry in just a little bit before I apply the tinted moisturizer. This Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Tinted Moisturizer comes in 24 shades. I actually bought the shade Deep Dark 21W because looking at the shade range from here, I'm not really particularly too encouraged, because I feel like there are only like 4 dark shades basically, and I'm like the third to last dark shade basically, and I'm not even sure if this is going to match me correctly. But it's a tinted moisturizer, so like I said before, you can play up with it underneath your before you apply your foundation. But I really want to try this product on its own. I really don't want to add anything else to it, so I'm going to just try it on its own and see if it's either a pass or a fail. Let's see how well ColourPop did with this tinted moisturizer. So I'm going to see exactly what it says here in terms of its claims. Now, according to ColourPop's website, it says that it says show more skin. This hydrating tinted moisturizer has skin perfecting lightweight coverage for fresh, healthy looking skin. So if you're one of those persons who really like that full coverage look, if you're one of those girls who really like to kick it on your face, you're one of those girls who just don't want anybody to see anything during the course of the day, then I guarantee you this tinted moisturizers overall is not for you. Now, somebody like me who really doesn't mind, you know, doing a little lightweight foundation look, maybe if I'm going out on the town to, you know, just run a few errands, or if I'm going to work and I'm having one of those days like, hey, I really don't feel like wearing foundation today. On most days like that, I just do like some correction with my concealer, and then I just add just a little tiny bit of a foundation that I think is like lightweight, like say for instance this one from Elsie. I think this is extremely lightweight, so on some days I just do like a bit of spot correcting with my concealer, and then I just apply a bit of that. On some days I also use this one from Cover FX, which I think is also extremely lightweight, and then this one from CoverGirl, the True Blend Matte Made Foundation. These foundations are extremely lightweight, so on days when I really don't feel like being made up, I use those foundations. So I'm going to go in. With, now this is the tinted moisturizer, so I don't expect to have, you know, I don't expect to be blown away by the coverage. So let me just do what I normally do with my foundations and just do some light tapping around the area first, and let's see how this looks. This actually looks like, while I'm doing this right now, this actually doesn't look warm at all. This looks this looks really neutral. But I have the precision blending sponge all nice and wet and saturated. I'm just going to go in and just blend out what I have here. I really thought I was gonna look really gray, because honestly I still have some on my hand, by the way. This actually looks like it's running a little bit more on the neutral side, so I can see just a small tint on my skin. Just like it said, it's a tinted moisturizer, and I can see just like a small little tint on my skin, and I can see that little healthy glow that they were talking about. I can definitely see it in this area right here. You guys can see that little healthy glow going on right here. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, I think I'm going to go in with 1 or 2 more pumps and see how we build this up, see how this baby is going to be looking at the end of, okay, that's 2. That was 2 just now. There's 2 pumps just now. I'm just going to go in and start building her up and see what she looks like once I press everything into my skin. Okay, so this is about 3.5 pump. I just did like an extra half pump for my big 5 head because you guys know I have like a lot of space going on up here. But I could definitely see the healthy glow that they were talking about. I could see like when I turn on the side, I can see like this. It's not like my regular matte foundations where I wouldn't see anything unless I, you know, kind of finish off everything with my setting spray. I can see that healthy glow, but this is pretty much all the coverage you're going to get out of this. This is a tinted moisturizer. This is not a foundation. So yeah, this is just about all the coverage you are going to get out of this tinted moisturizer. And I have to say, I'm kind of on the fence about it. I don't hate it, but I don't think I'm loving it. And I think it has to do with the fact that I was expecting this to be a little bit more warm, considering it's like, that's what it told me, it's deep dark 21 warm. So I don't know. I am wondering if I should maybe, actually no, I'm just going to leave it. Let's move on to applying the concealer. Now the Hyaluronic Creamy Concealer comes in 30 shades. So the tinted moisturizer has 24 shades, but the concealer has 30 shades. And I got the shade Dark 158W. So let me just see how this looks real quick. Let me just see how it looks like from a swatch. Oh yeah, that's definitely creamy. And I can see the yellow undertone in this more than I see in the tinted moisturizer. So let me just do a bit of highlighting real quick. Let me see if I'm going to like this concealer better than I do this tinted moisturizer. It's not that I hate it, but I don't know, I guess I was kind of expecting it to be a bit more warm, as I said. So let me just go in. I'm going to use the other side of the precision blending sponge and just blend this all the way out. And I actually think I put way too much concealer on, so I'm going to flip it on the side with the tinted moisturizer just to try to blend this out a little bit more, flipping it back and forth, only because this isn't a foundation, and you really don't want the concealer to look really crazy. You know, if it's too bright, it might look a little bit crazy. So let me just keep flipping it on both sides just to make sure that everything is nice and evenly blended out. I'm trying to figure out what this reminds me of. This concealer kind of reminds me of the one from, consistency of this concealer actually reminds me of one of my NYX concealers, the Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer. It reminds me of that. It's like so easy to blend out, and even though it's a full coverage concealer, you can actually build it up to the intensity that you want. I love the fact that it's not, you know, cakey and whatnot. It was really easy to blend out, and I want to believe that it has to do with this precision blending sponge. You know, everything is just working well together so far. So you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and powder down everything and see if I like it. I'm wondering if I should use my Fenty or my Sasha. So because of how neutral this looks, and I really want to amp it up a bit more, I'm wondering, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to use some of my Fenty. So let me just create something real quick and I'll be back short. I came back real quick because I set this on the eye with my Fenty powder. This one is the shade Honey, and I'm actually just using it in small stages like I normally do. You know, I start from here and then I build it up. But I'm really loving how the Fenty looks. Like it just warmed up the entire under eye way more. So I'm really I think I'm going to, yeah, I'm really loving how the Fenty Honey powder just warmed up the entire under eye and just made everything look a bit more tight together, because I felt like my face was looking a little bit more on the neutral side. You know, it was looking really flat. But now that I applied the Fenty powder, I feel like, yeah, now things are starting to come together. I'm really liking this. This is what the tinted moisturizer looks like now that I applied some of my Fenty Honey powder. Now I really want to warm my face a bit more because I really feel like my face is looking super flat. But that's okay. I'm just going to add a bit of my Prime Beauty bronzer. This one is the shade Bronzeville. I'm going to go in really light-handed because this is a tinted moisturizer, and you know, I could basically cover everything with this bronzer because it's extremely lightweight. And one of the things I love about this is that it really does, it feels so moisturizing. Like, I have to say, it feels really moisturizing, and I don't feel cakey or anything like that. And I know, you know, with the Fenty powder is a bit, you know, for lack of a better word, it's really powerful because it just mats everything out. It's like instant retouch powder, and you can basically use it for anything. It's a multitasking powder, so I really didn't want to use too much of that, and I just put a little bit on my eye, and look at that. I think it just amped everything up. And using this bronzer, yes, my face is definitely starting to come alive. So let me just create something real quick. I know I said that before, but let me go for real this time. Create something real quick, like finish up the rest of my face, and I'll be back. Okay guys, so I am back. Mission completed. My entire face was done. By the way, to set everything in place, I use my Lancome Fix It and Forget It setting mist. This is also infused with hyaluronic acid. You know, since we're already on the hyaluronic acid and coconut water train, I just wanted to keep everybody on board and just set my face with that setting mist. Okay, so my final thoughts with regards to the two products and the one tool that I use. So let's start off with the tinted moisturizer. There's a time and a place for everything, and there's a time and a place for certain makeup products as well. There are some persons who really don't like the heavy caked on feeling of a foundation, so they would really trust things like, you know, like tinted moisturizers, CC creams, BB creams, you know, that's up their alley. But for some persons who just want to be extra all day, every day, you know, I would more go for a foundation. Like, I am a foundation junkie. I consider myself a foundation junkie. I always look for foundations that work well with my skin type. So, you know, things like luminous and dewy and them kind of things, I stay away from those because I know I suffer from oily skin. But overall, I do think this is a really good tinted moisturizer. And although I thought it was looking a little bit more on the neutral side, I felt like when I added the bit of Fenty powder and then I started to bronze and everything, I felt like everything really came together really well, and my face looks just as it said. It looks fresh and, you know, smooth and all of that. I fresh and glowy and radiant. What the claims were on the website, I felt like, you know, I definitely saw that. Like, whenever I turn around, even though I'm wearing a very minimal highlight. You guys know I'm extra on the highlight. This little glow that you're seeing is not only the highlight, but it's also from the tinted moisturizer. You can see a bit of the radiance or the glow also going on right here above my eyebrows and over on this side as well. You can definitely look at the different, like when I turn, I can definitely see that radiant glow that they were talking, and that skin type looking finish that they were talking about. I can definitely see that as well. So, you know, tinted moisturizers, and for everybody's not going to like it. And like I said before, you can use tinted moisturizer just before you apply your foundation. But if you can save yourself some money and just not you know, skip that step, just go right after you apply your primer and just apply your foundation, because it's really only for persons who are going to use it. Somebody like me, I am definitely going to be using this again. I was kind of on the fence about it when I started using it, but you guys know, at the end of everything, now that everything is set into place, I'm definitely liking this, and this is definitely one of those products that I will be using on a daily basis to get to work. By the way, the price tag on this is $14. This is, how much is this? How many wait, this is 1.45 fluid ounces of product right here. The product is the Hyaluronic Acid Creamy Concealer. How do I feel about this concealer? I'm not particularly wowed about it, but I don't hate it either. I feel like I have concealers that can do a much better job when it comes to covering up my under eye darkness, and it does have that creamy feeling that I love in most of my concealers. You guys know the one from Fenty, the one from Too Faced, the one from NARS, that you guys would have seen me use in previous tutorials. Those are the type of foundation, sorry, not foundation, those are the type of concealers that I like, cream based concealers, because I don't like my under eye to look completely dry, because I know when I set my face in with that Fenty powder, that Fenty powder is just gonna snatch everything together. And I could definitely see when I set that honey powder over this concealer, like, I don't particularly hate it, but I don't love it either. I feel like, you know, if I had to consider like buying it again, it will be a pass for me, because I have concealers that pretty much do the same thing. And although it has a cheap price tag, this retails for $9. Is it 9 or 10? It might be somewhere between $9 or $10. I'm thinking it's more like $9 though, if I'm not mistaken. The thing I want to talk about is this precision blending sponge. I am absolutely in love with this sponge. Now, in most cases, I wouldn't particularly go for a blending sponge of this size. However, considering what this multitasking sponge can do, I felt like it set my powder in real good. It definitely blended out the tinted moisturizer really good, covering my entire face. And it definitely blended out the concealer really good. But I really want to test it out and see how one of my foundations, because the tinted moisturizer is like a lightweight liquid, so that's easy for any sponge to blend out. So I want to test this out with a real foundation and see how well it works. But it definitely worked well with the powder, which I suspect I'm going to be using this to set my powders. So I might be popping on ColourPop's website to buy a couple more of these. But if I'm not mistaken, this retails for $5. Yeah, $5. Yeah, $5. I got the price on this one. This definitely retails for $5. If I had to pick my favorites out of the 3 products I got from the Pretty Fresh line, I would definitely say this is number 1. I'm in love with the precision blending sponge. Then I would probably pick this as number 2, and then I would put the concealer last. Only because, you know, I feel like I have, like I said, I have concealers that I feel like could do the same thing, if not better. Overall, from the ColourPop Pretty Fresh line, I'm quite impressed. I am impressed. Yeah. Would I recommend this? I would only recommend it to persons who actually are into tinted moisturizers. If you're one of those persons who like full coverage, you're not gonna like this. As you can see, it doesn't matter how many pumps you put on, it's still gonna look like your skin, because it's only supposed to provide a tint basically. So if you're into your full coverage makeup, don't even bother waste your money and buy this. This is for persons like me, you know, persons like me who liked to medium coverage foundations. So that is pretty much it on my first impressions of the ColourPop Pretty Fresh line, the tinted moisturizer, concealer, and the precision blending sponge. Now, if you happen to have enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up on your way out. And also, if you're new, reiterate this before I leave, please be sure to click the subscribe button on your way out. I'll talk to you guys real soon on my next upload. Bye bye.